Hello and welcome back to another episode of TGS, the Gyan Show, a place where we bring you brand new episodes on business skills, business intelligence, financial strategies, entrepreneurship, and more. Through TGS, we aim at sharing business related knowledge to small scale businessmen, entrepreneurs who are new in the process, and for the one who are planning to start their own business. Every week, we bring you new podcast episodes that can help you boost your business and learn more about it, and also help you to foster every part of your business. So, let's begin with our today's episode. In the last few days, we have been listening much about the coronavirus thing, the disease which is originated in China. In this podcast episode, I'm going to share my views on how this disease is going to affect the economy because I'm not a doctor or someone who can share things related to how it is going to affect your body, a surrounding, or how can you cure it and all. And this podcast is not about all that stuff anyway. Here we just mean business, and I'll also add some data on how it is going to affect the production and sales. So, what is this coronavirus? How does it affect the Chinese economy? What impact will it have on other economies? And what opportunities does India have here? And what efforts need to be made to grab and work on them? I'm going to share with you all this today. But before getting into this amazing topic, I want your full attention and make sure you listen it till the end. And here on TGS, the Gyan Show, I'm your host Dhaval, and let's get into this topic. First, let me share you some detail about this coronavirus. It could be in many types like the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS, and Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, which is SARS. And the one we are dealing with right now is named as COVID 19 by WHO, World Health Organization. They are transmitted between humans and animals. Some investigations from WHO found that SARS was transmitted from civet cats to humans and MERS was transmitted from camels to humans. There are several other coronaviruses that are circulating in animals that have not yet affected humans and are unidentified. This virus originated from the capital city of Hubei province, Wuhan, holds a population of 1.11 crore people, and according to a business insider report, this virus may affect around 5 lakh people. It was also reported that Wuhan was selling animals and reptiles like snakes, birds, bats, foxes, and other animals in its market, and this virus must have transmitted from the bats. So now let's get a bit into detail about this capital city. Wuhan, referred to as the political, economical, financial, commercial, cultural, and educational center of the central China. It is also a major transportation hub with around dozens of railways, roads, and expressways. It is referred as the Chicago of China because of its domestic transportation. It has also been a traditional manufacturing hub in China for decades, and amongst the world top 50 companies, 300 of them have their offices here in Wuhan. So, with all this information, you know how important this city is for China as an economic, tourism, and commercial perspective. The Chinese New Year, they have extended the holidays to control this outspread disease. So now, how will it affect the Chinese economy? Well, due to extended holidays, the factories and offices there have been locked out to avoid spreading of coronavirus at workplace, markets, and factories, which means due to the closing down of these units, China cannot produce products or services to a certain extent. And also, according to a business standard report, the ports there have stopped shipping any containers. This affects the export of the country. China is world's number one manufacturer, and if it cannot manufacture things, the export by the country reduces, which will have an impact on its economy. And without exports, economy cannot function well. And if the factories are closed down, then the companies won't need much import as on raw material and some kind of eatables and FMCGs, and which means the imports are also reduced. And when the import and export both reduce, the economy will slow down and the growth rate will drop. And also after the latest tariff cuts from US, which will set effect on 14th February, which is from today, China said it will cancel almost half of its orders from US due to close downs. The SARS condition which occurred in 2003, it affected the economy a little bit because at that time China wasn't that big of an economy and it was controlled quickly by the government of China, and death tolls were around 700 only. And this COVID 19 has till now, the time of the recording of this episode, has affected 60,400 people and 1,300 people have been died due to it. So you can see this can have an adverse effect on the Chinese economy. And the government will also have to spend more on treatment and finding the cure for this disease. It will also have to spend more on medicines, and many countries nearby are trying to evacuate their people from Wuhan and by nearby cities so that they are not affected. And this is an even worse condition than the SARS. And as China being the world's second largest economy, if the Chinese economy is affected, it will affect the world economy overall and other economies as well. And it's the economical thing anyway. So if China cannot import things, then it will affect the supplier economies. And as China is a mass exporter, it will affect the ones who import things from China, like US and India, will be affected by this change in the economy of China. India imports a lot of stuff like fabrics, toys, and other raw materials from China, and US imports electronic devices, automated devices, and all from China. So it will affect them as China can neither import nor export much at the time of this coronavirus until it cures. So till now, I have gathered some data as how it has started affecting many companies and industries. And let me share with you some. Due to shutdowns on shipments, cotton and yarn prices have fallen by 4% due to lower exports from India to China, and rajma prices have risen by 8% as of lack of imports from China. 50% of India's rajma requirements that is fulfilled by China, and 25% of India's exports of cotton and yarn go to China. Due to shortage on parts of electronic appliances and smartphone devices, the output for phones, TVs, and white goods could fall by 30% because 85% of smartphone components are imported from China. Global automakers will have to face some issues due to prolonged shutdowns in country as they depend on the world's biggest automotive market for supplies and sales. And also about the electronic appliances and smartphone devices part, the sales will drop for the smartphone makers like Apple, OnePlus, and Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and especially those listed on e-commerce platforms like Amazon and Flipkart, and also to a some extent on Alibaba. And with the e-commerce retailers, their shelves may stay empty due to lack of supplies, which will drop their overall sales according to analysts. China's shutdown could impact key exports from India like organic chemicals, mineral fuels, cotton, as I mentioned, ore, plastic items, nuclear machinery, fish, salt, electronic machinery, and iron and steel. And it will also affect the imports like electrical machinery, nuclear machinery, organic chemicals, plastic items, fertilizers, iron and steel items, optical and medical instrument, vehicles and accessories, and other chemical products. So this all will affect the prices for all of these products. And overall, this will affect the output of various products as the outputs will drop, and due to the shutdowns in China, the sales for various other products will also drop. This will have a negative impact on many big companies who are selling or either manufacturing products in China. China's overall consumption and consumer spending will also slide. As Wuhan is known for its transportation, the transport sector will also be affected, which will also hurt the tourism and the logistics industry and the transportation industry like railways, airlines, and road transports. The manufacturing sector will also be affected, and to rebound on it, China will have to put a lot of efforts. The petrochemical industry will also suffer, and also the energy industry, the burgeoning energy industry. It will lower the crude oil consumption of China, so that will also affect its suppliers too, like Iran. And due to all of these effects, India and some other Asian countries have some opportunities here. China is expecting to reopen its factories and stores till February 17th. Many companies like Apple, H&M, Zara, and others have closed their flagship stores, and companies who have their offices in Wuhan and nearby cities have also allowed their employees to work from home. In an interview with Reuters, Zhon Nanshan, an 83 years old epidemiologist who won fame for combating the SARS epidemic in 2003, raised the alarm for coronavirus. Experts also say that the virus will hit a peak till the end of this month and may be over by April. And the close down actually proves to be helpful because in last 2 days the virus isn't spreading more, and deaths have also not went much high. So there are chances that Chinese government may extend the holidays to control the virus and find its cure. Here, India can take advantage of it and can start exporting what they have already to US and other countries because companies are still looking for replacement for production of materials, and for them India is a big target and that they don't want to miss it. India couldn't take proper advantage of the US China trade wars and the US Iran trade wars opportunities. So they can't miss this one to accomplish their aim of a $5 trillion economy. The Indian government needs to form some policies regarding setting of new manufacturing plants, operating and functioning of those manufacturing plants, and also with the exports of goods from manufactured from those plants. The global demand for goods won't be fulfilled because of lack of production. So this is a great opportunity for India, and now people and companies must start investing money in India to build their production plants. India must focus on setting manufacturing hubs and on increasing exports and also the quality of goods export. For that, India needs a lot of funds. So I think this is a great opportunity here for India. So with that economic side being said, let's get into some how to cure it side of the disease. So about the thing to overcome this COVID-19, the World Health Organization is working on a cure. Chinese government is also putting a lot of efforts to reduce the number of people affected and control the death tolls and are putting a lot of money to treat and cure this virus. India is also helping China by supplying some 1 million surgical gloves, 1 million surgical masks, and another 1 million nitrile gloves. And also, Indian Department of Biotechnology has partnered with Norway's Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness and Innovation, which is called as CEPI, to fund development of vaccines for COVID-19 virus. So, no matter what, this virus is affecting people and countries physically and economically. And I hope you are safe and aren't affected with this virus. And here, I'll end this podcast episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Gyan Show. We hope you enjoyed it. If so, then make sure to subscribe our podcast on iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. If you find it valuable, then we would appreciate a rating on iTunes or simply just share it with your entrepreneur friends. It would help them out too. And with that being said, keep listening, keep hustling. Until next time, from TGS, The Gyan Show. We'll see you later.